Let's talk about our central call center and why it's important to you. I'm going to give you an example early on in the day when we allowed some of our partners to answer their own phones and try and do their own sales. The problem came in where they weren't saying the right things to the customer and they weren't addressing landing the sale versus just answering their questions and letting the customer go on their way. And there was no follow-up. So we've taken it upon ourselves to have a central call center, which is very expensive for us to put into place. Okay, these are administrative costs that, of course, get passed on. But I will tell you, we have seen phenomenal difference in not only securing the customers, but just the follow-up that we do is insane. So, for an example, a person might be, they might say, "Hey, I have to check with my husband. I'll get back to you." We used to just, and when people were answering the phone for themselves, the partners, they would just let that go. There was no follow-up. Now, there's follow-up to every call. We follow up until we're told no, okay? So, in other words, say a customer calls today, they ask some questions, you answer those questions, we push immediately to lock them in right now. We may say things like, all you need is a credit card and I can get you signed up and on the list today. All right, so it's a lot of it has to do with how you present yourself, how you answer the questions, but at the very end, it's secure that credit card, land that sale, get that check in the mail coming, do something to land the sale. And then there's the follow-up part to that. So the follow-up is this. You send them an email the very next day. You call them the very next day. You will call them again a couple days later, and you will keep doing this until you either hear no from them, or after 4 or 5 attempts, that's when we shut her down. We're like, we're wasting our time here. So we do a lot of things at the call center for you. So just imagine this. So sometimes having to hire a person, imagine having to hire someone. Sometimes a customer will call 3 and 4 times because they thought of another question. Then they have another question. They're like, well, and it could be, hey, what if I do half an acre versus an acre? How about if I do 2 acres? Or, hey, I've got another property. Can I get a discount? Or, hey, what if I get my neighbor to sign up? There's always all these questions that come in. So we set up our training team to handle all these questions. We spend so much time training our people to answer them and to land the sale. In the beginning, we just spent a lot of time teaching them how to just answer the phone. How to be right with your questions and not let them worry or let them think, geez, I'm not sure I understood what they were talking about. We make sure they understand what we're talking about. And now the emphasis is put on sales more so than ever and landing that sale. So that's a big part of that. Imagine you having to hire somebody, pay them 60 hours a week to sit there and answer the phone, multiple questions from the same customer, multiple questions from all kinds of customers, and then you have to train them to answer all those questions, and then you have to train them to the sales techniques to land the sale. Imagine if you had to do that. We take all that away from you so that you don't have to do that. All right? It's not just a person, but you don't have to just hire someone, but now you have to have the computer, you have to have the ability to secure credit cards, and all of that. So there's a whole mix of things come with you having to do that by yourself, or we take control of that at the Mosquito Police headquarters. And so we tried to make it as simple for you to do business with us as possible. As a partner, we want you to be more focused on your marketing efforts. We don't want you to be drugged down and have all your time spent on the phone with customers. We have people hired for that. So that saves you an absolute ton of money. You don't have to go out and buy the computers. You don't have to buy the software to run the credit cards. You don't have to buy pay labor for a 60-hour-a-week person, because we have all that covered. And it's covered by trained people. And just imagine you having to take the time to train your person to do all of those things, okay? We take care of all of that for you, and that's why I think the call center is such an important piece of the Mosquito Police Partnership Program, because it ultimately results in way more sales for everybody. And of course, the more money you make, the more money we make. It's just that simple. We collect all the money. That's the other thing the call center has done. I've touched on it a little bit here, and that's a big deal. So we don't want you to have to chase your money ever. So we insist, if customers want to do business with us, It is our policy that we collect 100% of that money up front. I'll give you an example I just had yesterday of a customer, and this happens to us all the time. I want your season package, but I only, can pay for a couple treatments right now. That's like a subscription model, and we want nothing to do with that, right? So we just simply tell the customer, that's not our policy. If you do want to hire us, then you pretty much have to follow our policies, and our policy is 100% prepay. So therefore, all that money is in your checking account before you even fire up the truck to go out to do the job. That's the other important thing that this central call center does for you, so you don't have to. So there's another thing. There's measuring of the properties that you would have to teach your person how to do. And they have to measure all these properties, be on the phone with the customer, send snapshots over to them, make sure that what I've measured out here is exactly what you want done. And they may tell you, no, I want you to go a little farther out this way or a little farther this way. You simply remeasure that property. You come up with a different price. You give it to the customer. You go back and forth. Once you settle on a price, it's land that sale. So there's so much importance that the central call center has in the success of your business. And we designed it that way so that we can help you grow as fast as humanly possible. At the end of the day, it's all about getting as many customers as you can, servicing them as fast as you can, so that you have more time to get more customers, right? To fill in those blanks in your schedule. So this will allow you more time to handle your marketing instead of all the things I just mentioned. And imagine if you had to hire your own person and go through all of that stuff, just how much of that time it would take of yours. Instead, you could be out marketing and growing your business, but instead you'd be on the phone. So that's the reason for the call center. I hope this makes sense to you.